Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening, Andrew.
It's late.
It is.
We've been shopping.
Yes.
We've had tea,
Yes.
finally.
Yes.
We've watched Dad's Army, The Godiva Affair from Friday the 6th of December 1974.
Yes.
Partially because I was looking through the scripts
Yeah.
for it, for the blog post today, and you said, well, why not do the episode
And it was close to hand.
anyway? And I've got a silly hat on.
You have.
And it's all connected,
Yes.
so we'll see. But quick run through of what was on the schedule on that day. Poblicum was on at 12:25. The Weatherman was Jack Scott. Pebble Mill was on. Donnie MacLeod, Marion Foster, and David Seymour. Mary, Mungo, and Midge. But I don't know what episode because it doesn't say.
Okay.
It just says narration by Richard Baker and Isabel Ryan. Top score, Aspel and Company. Play School. The Bump in the Road by Donald Bissett, presenters Karen Platt and Johnny Ball. Pixie and Dixie. Jack and Ori with Margaret Tyzack. The Ogre Downstairs by Diana Wynne-Jones. Speed Buggy. Shall I do the impression of Speed Buggy?
If you must.
Because I found the title sequence for it a few weeks ago,
Yes.
and it's one of those things that I've not seen since about 1974.
But you remembered it.
But I remembered it because it sounds like he's got terminal flatulence. Because it's a Hanna-Barbera cartoon that nobody remembers, but he's a buggy, and he's
a
got
car.
and Speed Buggy is the pet of engineer Tinker and his pals Mark and Debbie, and he just drives around going. Like that. Val Singleton meets Lynn Paul, and Val Singleton and an audience of young people invite celebrities of their choice to join them in the studio. This week they talk to Lynn Paul, the pop singer who left the group The New Seekers to go it alone. The Clangers, Glow Honey. National News, Nationwide, The Wonderful World of Disney, Sancho the Homing Steer, Part 1, on for an amazing 45 minutes. Well, that's just bunging up the schedule, isn't it? Dad's Army, The Godiva Affair at 1945. The Real Dad's Army exhibition, the Imperial War Museum from the 17th of October to June 1975. Oh, we should go to that if we could time travel. 2015, Ken Dodd's World of Laughter, Ken Dodd and the Young Generation. Barking Play Leader Majorettes, Romford Drum and Trumpet Corps. Go on. That rang a bell, didn't it?
Well, my sister used to be in the Dagenham Girl Pipers, I think it was.
So that's sort of related,
Yes.
not quite the same.
Played the trumpet, I think.
Bill Tidy, Windsor Davies, Miriam Margolyes. There you go. 9 o'clock news. The Detectives, Harry O. A load of filler at the end. And on BBC Two, very briefly, if I can go back right up to the top, so select BBC Two. Nothing hugely memorable for most of the day. But we have got the Money programme at 2015. Guilt Complex, Government Stock Gilts. MASH at 9 o'clock. Mercy Mission, Hawkeye and Trapper are less than enthusiastic about their venture into enemy territory. 21-25 milestones of the film.
Oh gosh.
So
Eisenstein.
Eisenstein's Battleship Potemkin.
Battleship Potemkin. They showed that in the Museum of the Moon. It's not the one with
Lenin!
John Moe. Yeah, that was the other one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's the Battleship Potemkin, and then there's the one about the actual Bolsheviks storming the.
That's the
whatever it is.
Odessa steps.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's
there's
right.
a bit with a pram going down the stairs,
Yeah.
and then it just flashes up Lenin, and every time it flashed up Lenin, the guy would shout Lenin.
That was at the National Film.
It was
At the Museum of the Moving Image.
Yeah.
2040, in Vision, William Hardcastle meets Monty Python, a look back over 5 years of Monty Python's Flying Circus with extracts from some of the best and worst moments. The 4th series ended on Thursday. So there you go. But, just hold up the scripts very briefly.
This is
So a book of scripts of Dad's Army.
It looks like an annual, actually.
Yeah.
You got
And
the
there's the
picture.
And there's the
and
Godiva
there's the
Affair.
Godiva Affair.
Now, as I said in the blog, the actual scripts in the book
That's slightly different.
are slightly longer than the transmitted
Well, I
episode.
probably had to cut it down for time.
Yeah, because the first 4 lines are with Hancock and Mannering,
I've been cut.
and are cut, and you just start with Mannering going into the hall.
And really, that's all you need, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you
Captain
don't
Mannering.
need
You
it.
don't
I mean,
need
you
the,
just hear Hancock through the door
Yes.
because he shouts at him.
Mhm.
But yeah, so Hancock's keeping guard for high security. Jones and company are dressed as Morris dancers. Fraser, you said, just looks cross.
He does look cross. He does
does.
not look happy.
He's not happy dressed up
No.
in this
Stupid
silly
outfit.
fashion. So they come in their Morris dancing sort of costume, which is all
Attire.
ribbons and bells,
Ribbons and
isn't it, and
bells,
sticks.
Yes.
And this is why I've got my hat on,
Yes.
because I got my hat at the Wimborne Folk Festival
You did.
many years ago. It's a bit too small for me now because you washed it and it shrunk.
Yes. Sorry.
But when we went to the Wimborne Folk Festival,
Yes.
did you know what you were going to see?
No.
No.
No. I didn't realise that my whole day was going to be punctuated by the sound of bells.
Bells and Morris men.
And Morris men.
And we went on the bus, didn't we?
Yes.
And the bus sort of went up the hill, and there were a load of Morris men, and they'd got their faces blacked as well. And you were like quite appalled at this, weren't you?
Can they do that?
Is that allowed?
Is that allowed in this day and age? I'm still not entirely sure it is.
But
really.
in the high street, there are various bands of Morris
of
men
Morris men.
dancing and jigging about.
Yes.
And then we went to the pub at the Green Man, didn't we?
Yeah. It's a lovely pub.
Which is a lovely pub, and they do great food and ale and stuff. And we had our lunch there.
And you meet
And-
friendly dogs.
And all you could hear was bells
Yes.
as various troops of Morris men
Came in and out.
and went to the loo and
Yeah.
stuff. And it was just like a day full of bells.
It was. And also, I might have mentioned this before, but I used to, many years ago, when I was a lot younger, I was in an amateur dramatics group.
Oh, the heavy metal Morris
yes,
men.
and we had we had one room, the room next door, they were heavy metal, and it was all wooden flooring, and even when you walked, you could hear it. So every time they jumped up and down, it was like...
I went, oi!
Oh, you could hear their sticks hitting together. And they were once on, and I don't know what the children's programme is, I've never managed to track it down. There was a children's programme, I think it was on the BBC, where various celebrities had to find things and do things.
Yeah.
And Craig Charles was in it, and he went to this thing and found these heavy metal Morris men and did like a dance with them. And I have no idea what the programme is.
Oh.
But I'm going, oh my God, that's them! That's them!
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, Captain Mannering's got a bowler hat on with ribbons and things. Yeah, Mr. Wilson does not appear as other men.
No.
Because he's dressed as a sort of hobby horse thing, isn't it?
Yes.
But his little legs are on the
wrong
wrong way round.
way. They're like, oh God, they have to wiggle them around.
But yeah, the script is slightly different, because in the script it's Mr. It says down there, permission to speak, sir. Sergeant Wilson is not looking like a normal man.
His little legs are going in the wrong direction.
So yeah, it's slightly different in the script again. So it's just interesting to compare the script with this one. But they're doing a Spitfire.
Actually, that's different as well.
Yeah. What's that?
That line about when when he's going to ask the money, because money says, "Oh, I don't know." You could say, "Ha ha ha, give till it hurts, ha ha ha."
Yeah.
That's not what he said.
No, it is.
Is it?
Yeah. Ha ha ha, give till it hurts. Ha ha ha.
Oh,
You need to
okay.
be more jocular than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've got a fund for the Spitfire fund,
Yes.
haven't they?
And he got to get another £2,000.
£2,000 in £2,000 in 1940
That's a lot of money.
is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're really going to make much difference. But yeah, Wilson's horse thing is its mouth sort of goes a bit, doesn't it?
Sort of like
It's like Dobbin from Rent a
yes,
Ghost, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
but slightly less
Cheaper.
realistic and cheaper. Yeah.
But Fraser seems to be quite good at collecting money. He's just threatening them with violence,
Yeah.
basically,
Threaten them to hit them with your stick.
with his whiffling stick.
His whiffling stick. Yeah.
Now, Jones is frightened about the whiffling
Yes, because
stick.
he says that Fraser's got a look of hate
A
in
mad
his eyes.
look in his
Mad look
eye.
in his eyes, that's it, yeah.
But this is meant to frighten off evil spirits,
Yes.
and this is the first I've heard of this. But
Yeah.
they're going to do a fertility dance. But Godfrey's sister Dolly probably wouldn't approve
No.
of that. Yeah. But it's for the young, fertile men of the village.
Yes, to get the crops growing.
And Jones isn't sure that they're the right people to do it, but
No.
Fraser says, speak for yourself. I like the way Fraser still thinks he's a fertile young man.
Yes.
What was it you said? Talf has got a...
Yeah. Talf's putting his all into it. He does the dancing.
Because this is the period, you know, when Telford Thomas is in it as Mr. Cheeseman, but he gets very little to do in this episode, really.
He does a bit of dancing.
But you just like the look on his face.
Yeah, he's just looking really intent.
Yeah. But yeah, Fraser goes really OTT with his waving his stick about at Jones, and Jones is sort of very apprehensive about this. The studio audience actually give them a little round of applause, don't they?
For the dance.
So they're quite keen on it. But Jones is in a bit of a nervous state, and he wants
Captain Mainwaring to
have a word.
Yeah.
And he wants Sergeant Wilson involved as he's a man of the world. And what is it? Wilson just gallops into the office.
Do you want me to walk, sir? He says, Wilson, come into the office. Do you want me to walk on gallop, sir?
And he does a sort of...
He does a little gallop. That's very funny. Yeah.
But he has to sort of rest the horse on it. I love the way he doesn't take the horse off through most of this.
No, just everything he does, he's got the horse on.
Yeah, so the horse is sort of resting on the desk. But it's all about Mrs. Fox, isn't it?
Because Mr. Jones has been walking out with Mrs. Fox.
Yeah, and on Saturday night they have pork chops together. But Jones is keen to point out this is a purely Teutonic arrangement, you know.
Platonic.
But she's getting involved with Mr. Gordon, the town clerk, as well, which is not on. And Wilson describes him as a silly, bald-headed old duffer.
Yes.
Mannering isn't too keen on that as just description. But apparently he's a roue and a philanthropist.
A roue. That's such a great word, a roue. I can't imagine Mr. Gordon being a roue.
But a philanthropist, there's nothing wrong with being a philanthropist.
No, he doesn't mean, he means a philanderer.
Oh, that's right, okay. But yeah, Jones wants Mannering to have a word with Mrs. Fox.
So I think you can only be a philanderer if you're married.
Okay.
Technically.
All right.
So.
Okay. And I like the way now that everybody's on the phone to everybody else about this.
Because Fraser's got his candlestick.
It's a brilliant bit of detail that Fraser's on the phone to Godfrey, and Godfrey's got his, normal phone and his electric light.
Yeah.
Whereas Fraser's got a candlestick phone, which is ancient, and he's got a candle on the go. So he's not only mean in terms of lighting, he's just never bought a new phone.
Yes, because he's actually doing, and we've got one like that.
Oh, that's right, the TARDIS one.
And they're really uncomfortable to use. Yeah. I think I've used it once and gone, oh God, I can't use that. It's too uncomfortable.
Because when we went to the Museum of London, wasn't it Jane and...
Oh yeah, my friend's boys, they're 20 and 17.
Yeah.
So they've never seen a dial phone.
Yeah.
So they had these phones in the Museum of London that you could play with. And it's like the old-fashioned, well, not the old-fashioned, but the phones when you had to turn the dial. And they were like, you'd have to turn it all the way round. And you're like, yeah.
So heaven knows what they make of Fraser's candlestick.
But yeah, because obviously now you just press a button, don't you?
Yeah.
We don't even press a button a lot of the time now. You've got it. And also, we did hear another great thing, and that it's nothing to do with phones, but it is worth repeating. Because they had an exhibition about the Great Fire of London, didn't they?
Right, yeah.
And we heard this little boy say, Mum, was Grandad alive in the Great Fire of London? No.
Okay, you've been watching The Awakening.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about the lure of the flesh, isn't it? And and was it Fraser starts like sort of fondling the phone when he's describing Mrs. Fox. But apparently they've sort of been meeting at the Marigold Tea Rooms.
So everybody turns up there.
Yeah, but Telford Thomas is also on the phone to Pike, isn't he?
Because he's a reporter.
Yeah.
War correspondent.
And he's calling from a public phone box somewhere.
He gets a long call for his whatever it is.
Yeah. But I like the way that he describes Mrs. Fox, and he gets really into the description. Oh, she's not really a lady, she's a sort of... He gives a real sort of animalistic sort of appreciation of it. But yes, very, very silly. But next day at the tea rooms, so everybody's there. Godfrey, Fraser, Telf, Mr. Jones is there in a balaclava
and a cap,
and he's got his flat hat on.
Yeah. He must be really hot.
Yeah, enter Mrs. Fox.
Yes.
And what was it? Fraser says, look at the way he manhandles her.
Yeah, because he gets her to sit down. She's not subtle, is she, Mrs. Fox?
Oh, not at all, no.
He's like, yoo-hoo, Mr. Mannering!
But, what was it? The bowler hat keeps getting squashed.
Yeah, he sits
for
on
various
it, doesn't
reasons,
he? And
yeah.
then Pike cleans on it. Because
Enter Pike,
well,
yes.
because Wilson's there as well, but
Yeah.
it makes him sit at a different table.
Yeah.
So you should have had him sitting at the same table, then it wouldn't have looked quite so suspicious.
Okay. Right.
But Pike comes in and said, because Mrs. Mannering's on the phone.
Yeah.
And he said, Mr. Mannering says, tell her I'll call her back.
Yeah,
So he goes back off.
But Mrs. Fox says that Captain Mannering's very attractive.
Yes, because he says she's a very attractive woman.
And I like the way he says, "Oh well, we won't argue about
Yes,
that."
yes.
He's quite prepared to believe that.
Mm.
But he says that Mrs. Fox has another admirer, and they sort of hold hands or something. Don't
She
they?
actually grabs his hand and he sort of pulls it away, doesn't he?
What was it?
Because obviously she thinks that he's...
Yeah. But Fraser says, "Look at them; they're playing handy pandy."
Yeah.
Whatever that is. But what was it? He says that your new admirer is bald.
Yes.
And Jones has got a full head of hair.
Of grey hair, yeah.
But Mrs. Fox says, "You know what they say about bald-headed men."
He's like, no, what do they say?
Anyway, what was it? She says, "You can have Mondays and Saturdays, and he can have Tuesdays and Fridays."
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, I'm talking about Mr. Jones. Well, he can have Wednesdays."
No, he says, he said Jones can have Tuesdays and Fridays. No, what did you say it was?
No, because she thinks he's talking about him and the town clerk.
No, she doesn't. She thinks he's talking about him and Mr. Jones.
Is it?
And he says, but I'm talking about Mr. whatever his name is.
The town clerk.
Oh,
he can have Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. So she's got Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. So she's only got Thursdays and Sundays free.
No, Thursday she mentions, doesn't she?
No, Mondays and Saturdays, Tuesdays and Fridays, Wednesdays. So she has got Thursdays free.
So she mentions Sunday.
Early closing, I suppose.
That's normally Wednesday.
Yeah, I know. In comes Pike again, and he's told Mrs. Mannering that he was having tea with Mrs. Fox, which probably wasn't
the best thing.
Wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
And not only does Mannering say "stupid boy," but Pike is already nodding as though he knows he's going to be called that.
Yes.
So that they're aware that it's a catchphrase by this point, and they're sort of playing even on that. Anyway. What was it? Next day, Elizabeth has cut his tie off because there was all hell to pay when he got home, wasn't he?
Yes.
So there's a little stub of tie.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's probably symbolic of something, I expect, in a sort of Freudian way.
Yes.
The hall door is locked. Hodges has got a load of girls in there.
And a hobby horse. Not a hobby horse.
Vaulting horse. Like you'd have in gym.
Yeah.
And Mr. Gordon, Vicar, the Verger, and Hodges are all there judging these girls, aren't they? Hang on, I've got to turn over now. Oh, is it? The hall is full of naked ladies, as Pike insists.
They're not really naked. They've got swimsuits. Though.
Yeah, but to Pike, that's naked.
Okay.
So yeah, Elizabeth is on the phone again, and enter Mrs. Fox. Yoo-hoo!
Mr. Mannering. But because Jones is supposed to be trying to strip her. What is it? Is it
a Lewis gun.
A Lewis gun. Yeah. It's her Bren gun, but that's a lot bigger.
Mannering sees the girls and is appalled.
Yes. He wants an answer from Mr. Hodges. What's going on?
But Wilson's very at home with them, isn't he? He's
Wilson's just Wilson.
I love the way he's just immediately amongst them,
chatting to them,
and they're all very happy that he's there, and he's happy that they're there. So, but Pike is told to come away, boy, because he'll learn bad things, I expect. So yeah, Mrs. Fox is going off to put her swimming costume on. Thankfully, we don't actually follow through with this because I don't know. But they're saying about Lady Godiva as a
Lady Godiva Leofric
as a tribute to Coventry.
Yes, because obviously this is set after Coventry.
Now, of course,
terribly bombed.
We've been to Coventry.
We have been to Coventry.
And the Doctor Who conventions there were at the Leofric Hotel, weren't they?
Yes, and that's named after Lady Godiva's husband, Leofric.
Yes, but this is the famous bit where the town clerk goes on about fleshings.
Yes, I might have mentioned that once already. But
I'll do it again. It's all right. But I love the way that Wilson immediately knows what fleshings are as well.
It's just a sort of stockings that covers the body.
So Wilson is definitely a man of the world,
yes.
isn't he? Yeah.
He might even have been to London.
Yeah, but Lady Godiva Leofric was of more mature years.
Apparently so.
So Mrs. Fox is a very good choice. but that she's going to be clad in the fleshings and long golden tresses. But Fraser insists you couldn't cover her up with that. You'd need a bell tent.
Yeah.
Elizabeth wanted to be Lady Godiva and claimed she is of more ample proportions. Yes. What was it? I've just been having a chat to the little woman. What little woman?
My wife.
But she's not that little, is she?
No.
Enter Mrs. Pike to tell off Wilson because
she would have liked to have been.
She would have liked to have been asked
Yes.
at least. But yeah, what was it? Captain Mannering said, "Think of the effect on your son." And then Pike gets to say, "Fleshings," and I love the way it's already become a catchphrase in the episode. They've realised that this is a
good word,
a good thing to sort of play off of. Next day, the procession is going, and they're ready to start their dance, and they're based in the Marigold Tea Room.
They are.
I like just to save on building another set.
Yeah.
So they've cleared the tables, but that's about all. But the sort of waitress is there, isn't she? She was there earlier. But yeah, Mrs. Fox comes in all upset, and her stuff's been stolen, hasn't it?
She's gone to the town hall to change, and when she looked, her stuff had gone.
Her fleshings had disappeared, and I love the way that Pike just mouths.
Yeah.
just you can clearly see he's obsessed with fleshings himself. But yeah, it turns out Elizabeth is being Lady Godiva outside, and of course you never get the shot of it.
No.
Mannering just looks out
and
faints basically. And what was it? He'll never get over the shock, and Fraser says, and neither will the horse. But yeah, I think that's a great little sort of character piece of an episode. And yeah, I did find it interesting, sort of, having read the script again, to just see how it's just slightly different.
Yeah.
Because inevitably you change things in rehearsal and even on recording. As
some suggest something like, oh yeah, that's a better idea.
We could sort of change that around, and the stuff you lose in editing as well. So I think that's sort of a fascinating exercise to try.
And it's always fun to watch these because you can tell that the cast at this point, because they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, I mean it's been going a while now, and
all really interacting very well and bouncing off each other and picking up on each other's little, foibles, and so
maybe it's not the most famous episode, but I think it's a very good example.
It's a very good representation of Dad's army.
I like that you've got Mr. Cheeseman just in there.
Yeah, it's a shame he didn't do more.
It's a shame because I know sort of John Laurie wasn't keen on Mr. Cheeseman as a character because he thought, well, I'm the weird one,
the weird sort of one that's not English.
So why do we need another one?
Yeah.
But I could have seen a lot more from Telford Thomas.
Indeed, Telford Thomas. I've never seen Telford Thomas give a bad performance in anything. And because he's absolutely stunning in Survivors. And Heidi High is good. High, yeah.
It's a very sort of sympathetic.
It's a very sympathetic performance, and it's actually quite a hard episode to watch that one because you do feel sorry for him.
But he does it so well.
He does, and he died far too young, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, there you are. There's Dad's Army, the Godiva Affair. We'll say good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.